When he forgives, then you are forgiven without holding grudges or bringing it back up or looking to get even. See, you have enough problems just saying, Lord, forgive me, and accepting the fact that he forgave you. Well, I asked the Lord for forgiveness, man, but you remember the other day when I did that? Nah, leave it alone. I asked the Lord for forgiveness, and man, I'm thinking about that situation right now. Leave it alone. Yes. If you asked him for forgiveness, and this is what separates him from man also, and one of the many wonderful things that separate him, when you give it to him, he lets it go. He ain't going to catch you on the block a couple weeks later and say, remember when you did this? He ain't going to see you sitting on a pew in the church and bump into you and say, you remember you did this and you better go up there and pray for forgiveness? He ain't going to catch you at work calling you saying, you did this to me. He forgives you. And he's telling you he's not man because his love is different from man's. Amen. His forgiveness is different from man. Amen. These are small portions of the difference, and the Lord's doesn't stop there. See, his difference between us don't just stop there. He is not us, and we are not him. And if we could get that into our hearts, because we try to box God up sometimes. You better open that box back up. Don't box him up. If we can get it into our hearts that he is that much more, I can't even say different, I'm just going to say more than we will ever be, we would understand him more. Mm-hmm. We could receive him more. We could be doing more. We have to know if we accepted God like we should, we would be in a better state. This world physically would be in a better state. Yes. And this world spiritually would be in a better state. Yes. But we back up because we man. We got these wicked ways. We know because they keep moving. And we know the world is against the Lord, so guess who's supposed to fight for the Lord? That's us. And how do you fight for the Lord? By knowing who he is. And when you know who he is and the powers and the blessings and the gifts that he has, why can't you forgive? Why can't you love? How come these isms can't seem to go away? How come these sons can't seem to go away? Because we ain't God. We don't give it to the one that can take it away. You can't give racism to God. You still talk about racism 400 years after slavery. Well, you should have talked about it 400 years before slavery because it was there. And I ain't just talking about black and white. I'm talking about all colors because you all done had it. Segregation. Why am I segregating something the Lord said is all inclusive? The Lord came back to save sinners. He didn't say, oh, that color one, or that color one, or that sex one. He said, I came back to save sinners. And when you're mad at all these things, you have to realize that God gave you that shell on the body. You mad at God? You mad at God because you're white, you're black, you're Chinese, you're blue, whatever. You mean to tell me all these churches that have all these denominations ain't reading the word and knowing that there ain't but one church in the Bible? It's just one church. There's no denomination in the Bible. And if the church is divided and separated and segregated and racist, my God, the world is going to admit the same thing. Yes. Because if we already tore up, we already know the world is tore up.
Yes. Amen. My God. Yes.
The Lord addresses who he is and that he is not man because he can do what man can't. Because man angers comes right on through. If I'm mad at you, I'm going to show it. I'm going to act it. I'm going to act upon it. Man does that. But the Lord's anger does not. You don't get to have long suffering because you got a short fuse. See, we ain't going to suffer long. You step on my corn and it's been sore all week, you're going to know about it today, right now. going to happen right now. You let me get a brand new car and you even lean on it right now. I even consider Brother Malachi's car the cleanest car I've ever seen. Lean on it right now. The truth is, if man would truly acknowledge God, then the Lord would bless man more willingly. Amen. He is already waiting to do it. I mean, when your parents used to say, get good grades, I'm going to make sure I take care of you when you get home. Get the good grades. I got you. Well, the Lord got way more to bless you with.
Yes.
Do the work. He got something to bless you. Even if it's something that some of you may think of as simple as having your mind in the right place, having your health right, ask somebody whose health ain't right, whose mind ain't right, if they ain't praying to the Lord to get it right. You got to understand the true blessings that the Lord puts on you. This day, you couldn't tell anybody I see you tomorrow. You had faith in God that there would be a tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You didn't do nothing to get it. So we gotta let the Lord bless us, and that comes through doing what he says. But in short, what we see is love and forgiveness is nothing compared to the Lord's. In short, they follow the Lord, he will roar like a lion. When he roars, his children will come trembling from the west. Now, that's a big verse. Because if you look at this verse and go to Revelation 5:5, did I put that in there? Yeah, good. You will see who the lion roaring is, and his children will follow. Anybody want to read Revelation 5:5?
Then one of the elders said to me, do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has triumphed. He is able to open the scroll and its 7 seals.
So this lion that's roaring, y'all probably knew him as a sheep when he came here the first time. He came to save. He came to serve. That second trumpet that's going to blow, it ain't going to be the same. And it tells you in that verse who the lion is of Judah, of the tribe of Judah, the root of David. And it says he won. Yes. So we always say at Antioch, we know we got a victory. Why ain't you listening? Why ain't you being obedient? It says right here you got a victory. So you know who the lion is. He comes from the tribe of Judah. He is from the root of David. And then it talks to his ability, because he is the only one that can open the scroll and its 7 seals. And he's coming back to call for his people. So if you think he's not coming back, you need to read your word.
Amen.
He's coming back. If you look back earlier in the book, look at what Hosea says in chapter 3. Anybody want to read Hosea chapter 3, 4, and 5?
For the Israelites will live many days before king or prince, without sacrifice or sacred stones, without ephod or household gods. Afterward, the Israelites will return and seek the Lord their God and David their king. They will come trembling to the Lord and to his blessings in the last days.
So, I'm going to let you know, Hosea was going back and forward. And he's telling you, you're going to come upon him. You're going to be trembling because he's coming. They will follow once they confess Christ to be the true Messiah. This is a call for repentance. And all sinners should run to his mercies and flee from sin. Amen. See, that mercy that you keep getting is to allow you to repent. And see, when you repent, it leads you to God, which leads you away from sin. Or if you want to say it another way, it leads you to the Lord and away from this world. But you don't stay in the world if you repent to the Lord. And his mercies keep adding up for us. We receive the benefit of his mercies. This call is also a call of love. And to acknowledge that you should flee from God's wrath. Get away from it. You don't want God's wrath. None of us do. None of us do. We don't want it now, and we sure don't want it later. So as we move to chapter 12, it says, Ephraim feeds on the wind. He pursues the east wind all day and multiplies lies and violence. He makes a treaty with Assyria and sends olive oil to Egypt. The Lord has a charge to bring against Judah. Let me read that again. The Lord has a charge to bring against Judah. He will punish Jacob according to his ways and repay him according to his deeds. So what he's saying at that last part before I really get into it is, you can do wrong, I'm going to get you. Or you can do right, and I'm going to help you. Yeah, that's what he's saying, but you know I got to elaborate a little bit.
Amen. Amen.
When Israel, you have been trusting in false idols. I already know that. And befriending alliances that are useless and unfruitful. That's what they were doing. When you see, it talks about the east wind and all day and all multiplied violence. It's talking about what they were doing and who they were doing it with as we go through the rest of this. It speaks to the indictment of Israel, and when it speaks to east winds, it speaks to destruction because it comes from the far east in Arabia over a large wasteland, a desert, which was destroying man and vegetation. So he puts it in a way that they know. They know the people, they know the area, they know what happens. And ain't no punches being pulled right now. He's saying it straight up. Anybody want to read Psalm 48 and 7?
You destroyed them like ships of Taurus, shattered by an east wind.
There go that east. There go that east. Remember when Israel dealt falsely with God, they looked to the Assyrian first. They didn't look to God. Did you notice I said they looked to man? I'm sorry, let me put it different way so you understand it. They looked to man first, and then they looked to Egypt. Let me tell you again, that's another man. And olive oil, the reason olive oil is mentioned is because it was used because it was a valuable commodity, and it was truly stated to let you know that they were dealing with the Palestinians. That's where it came from. Hosea sent to them to this. He says, look, you know where it's coming from. You know who you're dealing with. You called on them. You didn't call on the Lord. And then what did you do? You picked up their ways. You picked up their dealings. You've been worshiping and doing things that they do. Why ain't you calling on the Lord? Why are you talking to the created and not the creator? You're looking to have a case brought against you because you've been doing wrong. You've been doing wrong. It stands for all other presents. This oil, it stands for all other presents which Hosea sent to the king of Egypt. So you still dealing with man. You ain't calling on God. Ephraim, threatened by God, looked first to the Assyrian. Uh-oh, I'm going to go over here. I ain't going to talk to him first. I'm going to go over here. Now, I done brought you out of this.
Yes.
But I'm going to go to this. So, then to Egypt. Hold up. You was tied up in Egypt. I delivered you from Egypt.
Yes.
And now you're looking back? Come on. You went there to strengthen yourself. The only way that any of us can truly be strengthened is through the Lord. See, I can call on my friend and they can say what they want to say. But if they ain't lead me to the Lord, and I definitely need the Lord, they're not helping me. I can be strengthened through the Lord. When you're going through some trying times, back up off of people and give it to God.
Because we should be extremely careful, as you're saying, when we fall upon hard times, and sometimes finances can be a little tight, and we may tend to go to, let's call him the devil, and make a deal with him to help us in our situation
And so the devil may have those finances that you need to bring you out, but you're going to owe. You know, you're going to pay for that. You think it's, you know, a gift, or you think, oh, I came to the right place, but you truly forgot who the true source is. And that's God, and that's what he's saying to him. You're making a deal with your enemy. You're making a deal with the devil.
Yes.
You're getting in the bed with the devil. What about me? I'm here. Come back, come to me.
Come to me. I'm here, been doing it.
Yes.
And you went to the next door neighbor to get some help that they ain't even got to give you. We do this on a regular.
We do.
In short, you trusted in others instead of trusting in the Lord. And none of them, and I repeat, none of them measure up to the Lord. None of them. Verse 2 speaks to the charge that the Lord was going to bring up against Judah. But truthfully, this was going against the entire nation. I don't want you to think he just said Judah. This was against the entire nation. Remember that Jacob was a double dealer. He ripped off his brother. And in his marriage, he was waiting for the other one, so he kept working until he could get the other one. And, you know, you say, okay, so he was a double dealer. And you can look at that, you can look at this, I ain't going to leave you hanging. You can see that in Genesis 29. Because he was dishonest, and the Lord is saying that is how Jacob was then, and that is how Israel is now. But you could be like Jacob after he repented from this situation. If you act right, you will receive grace and mercy. But if you want to be like Jacob was in Genesis 29 and when he went after Esau, then punishment. Uh-oh. Hold up, Lord, there's punishment with you? I thought it was only love. That's why you're being punished. Because it is love.
Yes.
Don't mistake God's love as wicked. His punishment is wicked punishment. It's really to correct us.
Yes.
So, yeah, you will receive punishment. But like I said, you could be like Jacob after he repented from his situation if you act right and receive his grace and mercy. This became how Israel was because they went behind the Lord's back, or so they thought. The Lord will let you do what you want to do. I can let you be if you want to be, but I'm trying to help you if you listen. So they went behind the Lord's back, so they thought, and gravitated to man. Oh, I got to see some of these idols, because they worshiping idols too. And let's not forget the other transgressions. Too many to name. They just wouldn't repent. And Hosea is making it clear in this charge. He's telling you messed up. The Lord got the right to punish you. But even in your transgressions, he gives you the ability to call on him and repent and get it right.
Yes.
As he does all of us now. And your struggle to be that way will end you up like Jacob when he was acting up, or you can act right like Jacob did later, and you can be blessed. But, and it's funny because right in verse 6 it says exactly what they have to do. But you must return to your God. And this is a God with a capital G. This ain't no G, little G-O-D. This ain't no Baals and all these other ones. You must return to God. Maintain love and justice and wait for your God always. Hosea tells them that they must return to the Lord and stay in love with him and to practice justice. And this justice is extended to everyone. America practiced justice and extended to everyone. The Old Testament even talks about justice. We know that it should be extended to everyone because it is extended to us. This love is to the Lord, not to man. And then wait on the Lord. If they are ancestral from Jacob, then they will know that God had beaten Jacob so that Jacob would turn to him. And after that, when he turned to him, Jacob stayed with the Lord and was rewarded and protected. So he said, Israel, do the same thing. same thing. Verses 7 and 8, the merchant uses dishonest scales and loves to defraud. And you can see that in Genesis chapter 19, verses 35 through 36. Ephraim boasts, I'm very rich. Uh-oh. That sounds like something y'all heard. I have become wealthy. Uh-oh. You know that wealth kind of blur your vision. With all my wealth, they will not find in me any iniquity or sin. The Lord is not going to overlook sin because these verses speak of the injustice. And we know that justice is the foundation of the Lord's throne.
It is. Amen.
Hosea prophesies during a time of great prosperity. Uh-oh. So y'all got a little something, something. But spiritual and moral depravity was in Israel. When things are good financially, it's hard for people to believe that their society is in trouble. Let me repeat that. When you think you top dog because you got a little something, something, it's hard for you to think something's wrong. But spiritually, you could be toe up and poor. Just funny how this passage this weekend is related to how this world is right now. And then he says, in all my labors they shall find in me no iniquity, that is sin. You will not find it. Don't let this prosperity fool you. When you're doing well, turn to God. When you're doing okay, turn to God. When you ain't doing well, turn to God. When you have a little, turn to God. When you have some, turn to God. And when you got abundance, turn to God. Because he'll help you do the right things through all of those situations.
Brother Teacher, just to add, how when you were talking about that wealth part of it, and the lesson is also showing us that having wealth is really not a bad thing. It's how you obtain that wealth and how they were obtaining that wealth where they were doing it in a dishonest way.
Yes.
And we do it the same thing by any means, whether we harm somebody to become wealthy, whether we cheat somebody, as the lesson is pulling out, they were cheating, stealing, and robbing from the poor to make themselves wealthy. That's injustice, and that's what God is frowning on.
And the Lord has no problem with you being wealthy. But people always say the verse wrong. They say, money is the root of all evil. Well, get the first part, the love. When you put that money in front of God, it's the root of all evil because you will do anything for it.
Yes.
And right now, these people are tipping scales. And we'll go back, and I think I wrote it down, but if you go back to Leviticus, it tells you not to do this. This ain't just something that Hosea just said right here. Now, it was said back in Leviticus. So he's telling them, if you want to be right, you got to act right.
Amen.
You got to do right.
Amen.
I have been the Lord your God ever since you came out of Egypt. I didn't just come in here yesterday afternoon and say I'm your God. I will make you live in tents again, as in the days of your appointed festivals. He's saying, if you want to continue in your depravity and immoral ways, then let me tell you and show you who I am. Remember when you were slaves and I brought you out of Egypt? Did you forget it? I was there over 500 years ago. But act up again and you'll be in them tents, with no place to truly call home and no true foundation of security. Wandering. That's right, Brother Shannon. In short, I brought you into prosperity and I can place you right back where you came from. You ain't nobody special. All this work is me. And if you don't want to act accordingly with it, I can put you back over there. You want to struggle? Go back over there. You want to stay in those bad areas and have countries taking you over in captivity? Keep doing what you're doing. I can put you back there. Do not let your head get too big to know that I'm God. So he says, I spoke to the prophets. Uh-oh. You got somebody coming. I gave them